Hello YouTube, it's Mr. Magz here, and today I'm going to pose the question, what exactly does Nintendo have planned for 2018? Because if you haven't heard yet, Kimishima, the current president of Nintendo, wants the Nintendo Switch to sell over 20 million units from March 2018 to March 2019. And that's not just, oh, they're hoping it'll sell 20 million. They're expecting it to sell at least 20 million. So that just kind of got me thinking, what exactly is all Nintendo going to do next year to make that happen? Because as of right now, they're doing pretty darn well for themselves. There are rumors around that the Switch has already sold almost 15 million. Now, I'm not exactly sure how accurate those numbers are, because as of early December, we found out that the Switch has sold 10 million already, though we're not 100% certain about when exactly when exactly that number was taken. If it was taken before Black Friday, then yeah, it could very easily be at 15 by now. But if that 10 million included everything like through early December, then they're probably close to 13-ish. Because I know just in December alone, it's already sold nearly a million. So that means if we just take the number sold in Japan in December alone, and essentially multiply that times 3 for the 3 different regions, America and Europe and Japan, that's about 3 million. So yeah, it's already sold at least 13 million, which is pretty good. And it's not even not even through its first year yet. It's only about 9 months in. So Kimishima also expects the Switch to sell, I think it was over 16 million by this coming up April. And that seems very possible. It only needs to sell about 2 to 3 more million. So yeah, that is very possible. However, this year we got a Mario Kart, a new Zelda game, a new 3D Mario game, a new IP in ARMS, and a sequel to the biggest new IP last gen, Splatoon. So that just kind of got me thinking, if the Switch currently is on track to sell about 17 million by April, which is still really good, what is Nintendo planning for it to sell even more than that next fiscal year? And I have a couple of theories. It's not just gonna be one single game. Like, any one game I mention here is not gonna be the one game that'll make it 20 million. They need at least 2 or 3 big hitters. Because right now, we only know about Yoshi, Fire Emblem, and Kirby Star Allies. And those 3 are still pretty big games, Fire Emblem arguably being the biggest franchise of those 3, at least as of recently. But still, Kirby and Yoshi are still pretty good games they're staples to have on any Nintendo system. So it's good that we're getting them this early. However, people aren't just going to run out there and just, they're not going to go out in droves to buy Yoshi and Kirby. Fire Emblem might be a different story. And the fact that we know Fire Emblem is coming out next year is definitely a good sign towards that 20 million. However, like I just said, Fire Emblem alone will not get us there. Fire Emblem plus Yoshi and Kirby alone will not get us there. We do know that Bayonetta 1 and 2 are coming out, although those are pretty kind of niche titles, but still all the more help, certainly help get to that 20 million. I believe there are 3 contenders that are likely to come out next year. And any one of these games, along with Fire Emblem, I feel could feasibly get them to that 20 million. So the first one, of course, is Pokemon. We already know it's coming to the Switch. They announced it this past E3. We didn't get any title, we didn't get any information at all about it. We just know that they are working on a Pokemon game for the Switch. It'll be the first ever Pokemon game in HD, which is very exciting. However, we're not 100% certain if that game is even coming out in 2018. The fact that Kimishima expects the Switch to sell 20 million more or less implies that it probably is, but still we're not certain. And even then, Pokemon alone, I don't really feel by itself would be enough to sell the Switch 20 million. It could definitely get pretty close, especially in Japan. Because even Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon sold over 1 million in its first week in Japan. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure the first HD Pokemon on the new hot system will spark a few sales, to put it lightly. So that and Fire Emblem together, sorry, I'm a bit sick. Those two together could potentially get us to 20 million. However, I kind of feel like there needs to be at least one more big game that has more mass appeal. Because, like I said, Fire Emblem and Pokemon do really well, especially in Japan. But I'm just not sure if those two games would really push sales outside of Japan to the extent of them getting up to that 20 million. Pokemon does very well in America, don't get me wrong. But Fire Emblem, it also does fairly decently, but not doesn't have as huge and has just feverish as a fan base as Pokemon does. Metroid, if that comes out next year, I'm also not 100% certain if that alone could make that 20 million. Metroid Prime, the Metroid Prime series is a pretty big franchise and people love it. However, it's never really been the biggest seller. I think the first Prime game sold about 4 million, and even the one in the Wii sold about 1 million, if not even less than that. So, if the Metroid Prime games on the Wii could sell barely 1 million, if even that, I'm not really sure if Metroid Prime 4 alone, even partnered with Fire Emblem or even Pokemon, could really push it to the 20 million. And also, I personally don't feel like Metroid is coming out next year. If Pokemon if one of Pokemon or Metroid had to come out next year, my money would be on Pokemon. I just feel like they're they're gonna take their time with Metroid. Um, it's a game that I feel really needs just to be good. Pokemon, people will buy it regardless. Metroid Prime 4, I feel like it really needs to prove itself. After all these years of nothing, a brand new studio is making it, in house studio, not retro this time. So, yeah, Metroid Prime 4, if it comes out next year, that'll definitely help to the 20 million, but I personally don't really see that happening. The other two games I feel that could come out next year that could very easily help springboard to the 20 million are Super Smash Brothers and Animal Crossing. I feel Animal Crossing of those two is the more likely option, especially since Animal Crossing Pocket Camp just came out, and usually whenever they release a mobile game, there's a mainline game in that series soon after. Super Mario Run happened, and then Mario Odyssey came out the next year. Um, Fire Emblem Heroes, and then Fire Emblem Echo Shadow Valentia, and also Fire Emblem Warriors, and then Fire Emblem uh, on Switch next year. Pokemon Go, and then Sun and Moon. So I just kind of feel that trend um, makes sense because they want these mobile games to really push people to buy the mainline games. So there isn't really a reason why they would release Animal Crossing Pocket Camp now if they're not planning an Animal Crossing game in the near future. So having an Animal Crossing release like in the summer, I feel would be perfect. It's a good stopgap between uh, the third party games we know that are coming early in the year. Probably Yoshi or Kirby or maybe even both are coming out early next year. And then whatever big game is coming out in the fall, either Metroid, Pokemon, or both. And then Fire Emblem somewhere in there, my guess is a May title. So I feel like Animal Crossing coming in July or even August, I feel is a very good place for that to be. And Animal Crossing is another series, just like Pokemon and Fire Emblem, that sells extremely well, especially in Japan. So that, along with Fire Emblem and Pokemon, very easily could do that. And I feel Animal Crossing also has gotten a much broader appeal than those other games. It's not an RPG. It's something that has its own niche, but it's also a lot of people like playing it. And like I said before, if they release Super Smash Brothers next year, whether it be a port of the 3DS and Wii U version or a brand new game, that game alone I feel has the broad appeal to definitely get them significantly towards that 20 million. Um because Smash Bros, whenever that game comes out, it's an event. Like when the Wii Smash on the Wii U came out, yes, it didn't sell exponentially well, but it still sold I think about 5 million on the Wii U, which is really good for that system. Hardly any game sold that well. I think Mario Kart. I don't even think Splatoon sold that well. I'm not even sure if any of the Mario games sold that well. New Super Mario Bros. U, I think, did, but 3D World, I don't think sold that well. Um, so yeah, if Smash on the Wii U can sell almost 5 million, I'm fairly confident that the Smash on the Switch can sell probably double that. Let's be real. So yeah, Smash along with Fire Emblem, along with Pokemon, along with Animal Crossing, or any combination of two or even three of those could very easily get them to that 20 million number. So it just it just really bugs me the fact that people are still convinced that Nintendo has nothing for 2018. Because I still see comments and videos talking about the fact that, oh, 2018 is looking dull. 2018 is looking bad compared to 2017 because we don't know anything that's coming out next year. And yeah, it looks bad because we don't know anything that's coming out next year. In January, we didn't know that Mario Odyssey, Zelda, Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario and Rabbids, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We didn't know that any Fire Emblem Warriors, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We didn't know that any of these games were coming out before January. And Mario and Rabbids we found out at E3, and all those games I just mentioned came out this year. So it is very feasible that in January or early next year at some point they have a big just blowout of announcements for a bunch of games announced and released that same year. They could very easily announce Animal Crossing in January for it to come out in the summer. Same thing with Pokemon, announce it in January or early next year and it come out in the fall. Same thing with Smash Bros. Especially with the port, they could easily have a trailer for it in January and it released sometime in the fall. I just feel people are jumping the gun a bit too much and just assuming that because we don't know anything right now, that automatically means that nothing is coming out, which is never Nintendo's strategy when it comes to things. They hardly ever announce stuff years in advance, and if they do, like Zelda, it gets delayed and delayed. So they thought they were announced to get a year or two in advance, but it happened to be 3 years, that happens sometimes. The only game I honestly feel that they might have announced a bit too early was Metroid Prime 4, but that was only because they felt they needed to in order to just gain confidence of the Metroid Prime fans. Because also Samus Returns was announced at that E3, and they felt, oh, we can't just announce a 2D Metroid because then the 3D Metroid fans would get annoyed at us, and that's probably very true. So yeah, like they're they I can't think of really any other time that they announced a game so early that we knew about it like a year and a half in advance. Maybe Smash 4, I think we knew. Yeah, it went through two E3s, but outside of that, I really don't think there were many other games that saw two or three E3s outside of Zelda's, of course. So yeah, I am not worried at all about what Nintendo Nintendo is planning next year. They feel confident enough to say that they hope 20 million units. So I trust them. I trust that the games are coming. I trust that they have other strategies. I trust that the online will be up and running by then. I also feel that there's a chance of a price drop. Um, I'm not 100% certain about this, but maybe $50 at the most. Now, there is no real reason for a price drop right now. It's still selling amazingly. But as of right now, the PS4 and Xbox One are still cheaper than it. I think you can still get a base PS4 and Xbox One for $250. So if Nintendo wanted to just try to cut into that market a little more, then they might drop it down to 250, and that would definitely make people want to purchase a Switch that much more. So, do I think it's likely? No, but if they do, that would certainly help get into that 20 million. So, yeah, I think that's about it for now. Thanks for listening to my rambling. I didn't really have a script or anything for this, so yeah. Leave a comment down below. What do you think Nintendo is planning on next year? Do you think there's going to be a price drop? What games do you think they're going to announce next year? What? Oh, I didn't really talk about third-party games. What? Other than Wolfenstein and Bayonetta, they haven't really announced, and Valkyria Chronicles, they haven't really announced many games that are for certain coming out next year. So, yeah, what third-party games do you hope are going to come out next year? So yeah, leave all those comments down below. I have a discussion going, and see ya.